restless today. Oh, there we go. Looks good. Yep. It's taken care. Thank you for the reminder, though. You guys all set? You know us. We've had that happen before. Everybody's good? Pretty good. Good morning, and thank you for joining us here at Suffolk County Police Department headquarters. I'm joined by a number of my colleagues here, of course, starting with our Suffolk County Police Commissioner, Jerry Hart, who's going to be speaking in just a few moments. We're also joined by our First Deputy Commissioner, Jim Skopek, the Chief of Department, Chief Stuart Cameron, Chief of Patrol, Bob Brown. We are also joined by Dr. Jim Tamarkin, our Suffolk County Health Commissioner, and members of his team, Terry Reither, Tobacco Enforcement, Suffolk County Department of Health Services, Nancy Hemmendinger, Director of the Office of Health Education, and John Martin, Supervising Public Health Educator for the Department of Health. So for years, we have been talking about, and we have seen now, a steady increase in nicotine addiction and cigarette sales. A steady decline, actually, which has been one of the great public health successes in our time. That was not by accident. Once it was made clear that smoking causes any number of serious health illnesses, and once governments and educators intervened and came together, and once people were held responsible, I should add, in the interest of public health, all of these individuals and agencies and organizations working together, we saw these trends decline. We saw nicotine addiction and cigarette use decline. And that has been a very positive thing for public health. But today, vaporizers have reversed that trend, so much so that we are seeing nicotine addiction once again on the rise. And we are running the risk that an entire generation of kids now will become addicted to nicotine once again. And the fact that we are in that place is astounding. But that is where we are, and it is unacceptable. Our youth are now being targeted by manufacturers that sell sweet and fruit-flavored nicotine cartridges for vaporizers with colorful packaging that are attractive to our kids and are glamorizing vaping. And the numbers prove it. E-cigarette use among high school students spiked 900% between 2011 and 2015. Students are vaping in schools, parks, bathrooms with devices that are easily concealed to resemble USB drives or pens. And you can see a good example of that right here. This looks like a USB drive. This is a device that is helping to get kids, once again, addicted at alarming rates to nicotine. Aggressive measures need to be taken due to the fact that the number of high school students who vape has doubled this year when compared to last year. When you think of the spikes that have occurred over this past decade and that the numbers are still doubling, we have a public health issue of crisis proportions on our hands here. This is in no small part, this increase that we have seen, due to the messaging that has been put out there by companies that somehow these vaporizers and e-cigarettes are just completely benign and safe. But the facts are this is simply not true. Our children are facing a serious risk of, again, becoming addicted to nicotine, and we know that is a serious health risk. In an effort to stop and reverse this rising trend, we have undertaken a number of measures to prevent and enforce the illegal sales of e-cigarettes to minors. That's why we're here today. Suffolk County Police Department recently conducted an sting operation called Operation Vape Out. This was to hold establishments accountable who are selling these products to minors. The operation resulted in the police department issuing 32 violations across 137 different establishments that were randomly targeted where operators are selling these devices. The charges include unlawfully dealing with a child, the sale of e-cigarettes to persons under the age of 21, and selling tobacco products under 21 where prohibited. I will, obviously, I know the commissioner will be talking more about the details of the police department's sting operation. But we're not only focused on the law enforcement end, we're also focused on education, of course. Our health department continues to educate parents, students, and teachers about the dangers of e-cigarettes. That's why today we're announcing because of the trends we have seen, we're announcing today the expansion of the health department's vaping prevention and awareness program called Vape Out. In addition to the peer-to-peer education program, an alternative to suspension enforcement program, and a community impairment and parent education forum, the program will now include a vaping cessation program designed for those students caught vaping on school property and for youth interested in exploring various cessation methods. It's on us to protect our children from those addictive and harmful products that can only lead to negative consequences. And when you have companies that are specifically targeting minors in a way that is harmful to public health, then it is incumbent upon us in government, through law enforcement and through health department and our education efforts, to do everything we can to counteract those efforts. And that's what we're here talking about today with Operation Vape Out from the Suffolk County Police Department and the Vape Out education program from the Suffolk County Health Department. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our police commissioner, Commissioner Hart, and then over to Dr. Jim Tamarkin, our health commissioner, to talk about the Vape Out education program. Commissioner?
Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Police Headquarters. I want to begin, of course, by thanking our county executive, who is supportive not only of this entire department, but also of the initiatives that we share together. So thank you to him for his partnership, and also today, thank you to the Department of Health for their partnership on this important, critical topic. As a department, we have always been concerned with the idea of vaping, particularly with our youngest members in the county. That's why we have had an aggressive, robust strategy that encompasses not only enforcement, but also education. With the recent news of vaping-related illnesses that has sickened more than 500 and killed more than 8, we are again taking action. The department is addressing the issue with an increased push on both enforcement and education. We initiated Operation Vape Out, a 2-week undercover operation that concluded on September 18th to check the compliance of 137 businesses throughout our 7 police precincts. Partnering with the Suffolk County Department of Health, we used underage agents to attempt to purchase vape-related products at 137 stores. Of those checked, 30 people sold vape products to minors, resulting in 32 violations. Those arrested are facing charges including unlawfully dealing with a minor or sale of e-cigarettes or liquid nicotine to persons under the age of 21. These charges carry fines, and some also carry jail time. While we are pleased that the majority of businesses denied the sales, it is concerning that 22% failed to comply. That number is simply too high when we are dealing with the health of our young people. I have a message for these vape stores. We will be back, and we will not stop our enforcement efforts until we have full compliance. And while we are taking a strong stance on enforcement, we are also continuing to address this matter directly with children and parents. The department began offering a vaping presentation 3 years ago to educate students about the risks of e-cigarettes. Last year, we reached more than 18,000 students and provided the community with close to 100 presentations to get the message out. Vaping is not a safe alternative to smoking. We have updated our school presentations to include recent illnesses and the changes to New York State law. We have also added vaping to the popular Ugly Truth presentation, which previously focused on educating parents on heroin and prescription drug addiction. And we have just launched the Ugly Truth series, which will be presented during our precinct community meetings. We urge parents to speak to their children about the dangers of e-cigarettes. We, as parents, must take this responsibility of calling out the marketing that targets young people to promoting such flavors such as cotton candy. Flavors, with the exception of tobacco and menthol, were just banned by New York State, but that doesn't mean that our education or enforcement efforts will stop. We must, and we will, continue to act to prevent our young people from forming this unhealthy habit before it's too late. Thanks very much.
Commissioner Jamarkin.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. I'd like to thank the Suffolk County Police Department and the county executive for working together with us on such an important topic and issue. First of all, there's a very simple message, and that is that vaping is not safe. The Surgeon General has called it an epidemic, and those who vape are four times more likely to go on to combustible cigarettes, regular cigarettes, and that's just not an acceptable fact. We want to be able to move forward with our enforcement, and we will be working, as we have been in the past, with the Suffolk County Police Department. We will be working with our ATUPA program, and now, starting today, we'll be working with the state police as well, going to different venues and seeing if they are complying with the new laws. And one of the things to remember about this issue is that what people think they're buying in these vaping liquids may not resemble reality at all. They may not have a clue what's in there, and most likely they don't. So somebody may say this is nicotine, this is THC, this is cherry flavored whatever. Nobody knows. They're not regulated. So it's not just nicotine that's being vaped. It's a whole slew of products that we don't know what they are, and therefore have led to these health problems with these people ending up in hospital and a small number dying. So vaping is not safe, and what we're trying to do with our new Vape Out program, the addition to it, is a youth vaping cessation strategy. It's a 4-session vaping cessation group for school-age youth to develop skills necessary for addressing their vaping use and addiction. And it's open to schools. Any organization can contact the health department. We will be posting our schedules, and we will develop new schedules as people are interested. So that's our new aspect, and we hope, because one of the main issues is people understanding that vaping is not safe. There is this myth out there, and you hear it from children, you hear it from their parents, oh, at least they're not using cigarettes. Well, that's no longer the case. So we need to get the message out, and we'll do it in a variety of ways. I just want to show you a couple of slides in terms of some of the ways these vaping products are marketed. So those are products that we all recognize as having similar pictures to products we've known for years. I grew up with the one in the right-hand lower corner, Cracker Jacks. Do we have the previous slide? There it is. There it was. There it is. So that's what we all recognize and know, and those of us old enough remember. But now, go to the next slide, please. That's what they're using to market things. So you'd look at it and go, oh, that must be a Cracker Jack, or that must be one of the other products, Snapple or something, and not recognize that it is not the same product. It is this vaping products that they're using and copying previously well-known branded items. Okay, next slide. So our Vape Out program includes vaping cessation for youth and an alternative to suspension. We don't want kids to be suspended. If they're not in school and their parents aren't supervising them, they're going to be out vaping potentially. Peer education. We know that peer education is one of the most effective ways to help students stop and never start vaping. Community and parent education. We want parents to know what's going on in their community and what their children are doing. And lastly, enforcement and vendor education, as was previously noted. So those are our messages, and we hope to move forward on this as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, thank you to the Suffolk County Police Department and their aggressive enforcement efforts on this issue, and to our health department for the work that they're doing to educate the public about what is now a public health crisis. When you're talking about a whole generation of kids becoming addicted to a product that we thought was on the way out, or a habit that was on the way out, that is a crisis, and it has to be dealt with aggressively. And we're approaching it from a law enforcement perspective and from a health and public education perspective. So, any questions?
Steve and Ms. Hart, can you characterize generally what kinds of stores were found to be not compliant, and also, in general, where they were located, like what towns or communities?
So we spread out the operations throughout our 7 precincts, and the numbers varied. So, you know, the first precinct had, I can get you the exact numbers, but 30 or so, and then the 7th had about 7, and in between there, the numbers varied between the precincts. I can get you the exact numbers.
Commissioner, with over 20% of the places that you visited breaking the law, what message are they sending to you?
So it's an issue of compliance, and what they need to know is that we're not going to stop our enforcement efforts. We like to do a wholesale major operation push at the beginning of the school year, but this is an ongoing effort that we do throughout the year. So our message to them is clear, that we're not going to stop this enforcement effort.
But what do they think they're saying to you about the fact that they are breaking the law? So many of the stores were breaking the law.
I don't think they understand the seriousness of this issue, and I don't think they understand our perseverance on this, that we're going to continue on this.
And the law is under 21, they can't sell.
So there were 2. The New York State law is under 18, and the county law is under 21.
Steve, what was your take, knowing that over 20% of the places they visited were basically not following the law?
These places that are selling these products to kids are basically saying they're not concerned about the kids' health, and that is unacceptable to us in Suffolk County, and that's why we're going to continue our enforcement efforts till we get 100% compliance. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, how are you?
Can we run this slide again?